What's good, y'all? Welcome to a very special video, discussions video on the latest issue of Venom, or whatever I end up calling it. But it's currently like 8 o'clock right now on Wednesday. I read the issue way earlier on the day. By the time you guys see this video of me talking about Donny's run and my experience with it, this video will probably come out on Friday, because this isn't going to be like some super highly edited video like some of my other videos I've done, or scripted or anything like that. This is really just gonna be me rambling and just discussing the run and kind of my experience with it, some of my things I loved about it, maybe some of my things I didn't like, and just my overall experience, because this book is something that I have quite the history with, because you guys know that when I started doing the comic reactions, it started with this and Nick Spencer's Spidey run, and it's kind of bittersweet to see that it finally end, to finally see the end of Donny's run, because this was such a book that I loved so much, that I had so much fun doing videos on, doing the reactions for, that I had so much joy reading and enjoyment. That it's bittersweet that it's coming to an end. Like, the ending was great, and the final issue, of course, as you guys see on my reaction, which should be up on Thursday, was fantastic. The issue itself was brilliant. I loved every second of it. It was bittersweet. I love what Donny did with it, and it's kind of funny how when you compare endings of comics to manga, at least from what I've seen, it's like the polar opposite. Like, at this point, it's almost a meme at this point when a manga series ends, that people bitch that the ending sucks. Tokyo Ghouls, people said the ending sucks. Demon Slayer, people said the ending sucked. Attack on Titan, The Promised Neverland, all of those series, they said the ending sucked. Which TG and The Promised Neverland, I thought the endings were, both those were great. And, but that's just me. But, like with comics, I haven't heard a single people, no one said, "Oh, this ending sucks, it's so underwhelming." Like, no, it's been nothing but praise. And, people just saying, saying thanks to Donny and, and Ryan and all the great work they've done for these past, 4 or 5 years since this run started up back in, 2018. It's kind of crazy. But, man. So, I guess we should just jump right in. So, I mentioned a little bit, this is my reaction to the final issue, but I want to elaborate a little bit more on this. But you guys may know that actually that this was the first comic that this, like I said earlier, that this and Nick Spencer's Spidey run was what when I started doing the comic reaction, it started with these two series, and these two books got me into comics. I'll go more in depth on probably why it took me so long to get into comics and finally stay in there. But never mind despite all the attempts I've tried in my earlier years with trying to get into comics, since you guys do know I just absolutely adore Marvel, from the TV series, the movies, the video games, all that shit. You guys know I fucks hard with Marvel, that's my shit, and it's something that's always been a part of me. So I'll go more in depth on that one, but yeah. So first off, when I first heard about Donny's run, I want to say it's when I started reading Nick Spencer's run, and Marvel started the whole Fresh Start thing. I think they announced that Venom was also getting its own book. I might have found out about it on Twitter, maybe from Godzilla Mendoza, but he probably tweeted about it sometime around then. But anyway, I found out about that Venom was having a new run. I was like, "Oh, Venom comics! I love Venom. He's one of my favorites. So let me read this." And I started reading it, and you guys will, and I'll probably have the tweet ups here, because I was actually, because you guys may remember, if you guys have been following me on Twitter for a long time, that I was tweeting about it, about when I first started reading the comic. I was reading a couple of other ones, that I finished the first issue of Donny Cates' Venom run, and it was fucking amazing, and it was so good. This was so great. I can't wait, to read more. I was super excited, very pleased with the first one. This, by the way, by this point when I started reading it, this was before I did the comic reaction. I want to say there was already a few, there was already a few, first 3 or 4 issues were already out by this point, and I just kind of binged through them all before I decided I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the issue reactions with this one along with Nick Spencer's Spidey run. And then we got to the stuff with Miles. When Miles finally showed up, and him and Venom were having their fight, and I'm going to give a little bit of context for some of the certain things, because as you guys may know, as the run continues, Ryan Stegman started his own podcast, Stegman and Making Friends, which Donny Cates often frequented. And when that first started up, I want to say it was during I want to start when that podcast first started. It was around the time Absolute Carnage was coming out. And I want to say it was a little bit before the first issue came out, but it was on the hype train of when we were getting to Absolute Carnage. And I used to listen to that podcast religiously when it first started, when Ryan was first dropping the episodes for it. After time progressed, I started to cherry pick the episodes and just pick which I thought were interesting. Like, oh, you got Seldom Out Med in here. Let me watch this and see what his mindset was to be the first one to take over Miles in a solo book after Bendis left. Or like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this one. Let me read this one. You know, what was this one? I said, but before that, I was like, I would watch every episode almost like the day it came out for Stegman His Amazing Friend. I was that into this shit, man. I was that into this run. I was that into this shit, man. I was that into it. But when this is something that Donny mentioned, and I haven't gone back and done any research on any of these certain things I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm just kind of just speaking from my memory. So correct me if I'm wrong on anything in the comment section below and all that shit. But if I remember correctly, and I want to say this was the episode when Donny and Ryan were discussing the end of their run, this is after we got the announcement that Donny's run was going to be coming to an end soon with issue 200. Donny mentioned that I think he actually went and talked to Bendis while he was writing these earlier issues when Miles started to get involved, and he told and Bendis told because Donny was actually the first person to touch Miles after Bendis left, if I remember correctly. Bendis told him, yo, you need to bring up Miles' mom, because you guys don't know, in the Ultimate Universe, Venom in the Ultimate Universe kills Miles' mom, and I think Bendis told him to bring that shit up, bring that up, and put it in the book, which he did, and you guys, and I was tweeting like a madman when I got to those issues, oh my god, this is fucking insane, this is a masterpiece, this is so fucking awesome, and I was loving what I was reading with Miles and what Donny was doing with Venom and the run and everything. And of course we got the rest of the Rex run where we got to this when we got Null introduced and all that shit, and I was hooked and I was in for long. But those Miles issues were yo, this is fucking awesome. Comics are really good. Comics are awesome, and I love those early issues with Miles and Eddie are facing off, and that was some good shit. That was some great shit. But I think the arc that solidified this run as, without a doubt, one of the best runs of Venom, and you could probably say of Marvel in recent memory, you could probably make the argument for, was the second arc. This is what got me in for the long haul. This is when I was like, this shit is built different. Donny Cates is one of the best is one of my all-time favorite comic writers. This man is something else. Was the second arc, The Abyss. And because you guys know how hard-hitting that arc was with Eddie, and him going a lot more psychological, and how fragile psychologically he was when we found out why he is a lethal protector, why he protects the innocent, and what happened to him and his dad, what happened when Daniel got introduced and all that shit, man. It was absolutely crazy, and and it's such a good thing that I was recording my reactions to those issues, because I forget if these issues aired when I took a break from comics, because I started college, and college, that first semester when I was in college, hit me like a fucking ton of bricks, because I was the schoolwork I was getting, everything, I'm yo, what the fuck is this? Am I even gonna survive this shit? And I ended up putting comics on hold. I still did my episode reviews and other videos I was doing, but when it came to comics, I was I'm putting that on the back burner. I'll get caught up on the series I want, and a couple other ones for new characters that I was into, like the Punisher with with Matthew Rosenberg. I'll get caught up in those during winter break, which I did. When winter break started, I got caught up on Venom, I got caught up on TASM, recorded my reactions to all of them, did the thumbnails, edited them, put them all up, spammed the fuck out of people who were subscribed to my channel with those videos, and you guys can see me while I was watching just how enthralled I was, and I was and how shocked I was to see what was happening, and how we learned more about why Eddie is the way he is and why he protects the innocent. It was that was the peak of this run. I think we can all agree that if you were to ask most people who are fans of Donny Cates' run, what was your favorite arc in there? What did you think was the peak of this run? I'm pretty sure most, if not all of us, can say it was The Abyss. Not to say it's kind of like the Bleach effect where it peaked with the second arc. Not to say that the rest of the arcs were bad or anything. They were all fantastic in their own right, but The Abyss, you could probably make the argument for the Soul Society arc with Bleach. That shit was built different, man. That shit was absolutely built different. And it was such an amazing, those issues were so amazing. And Ryan Stegman's art was fantastic with those, man. Those issues were amazing, man. line. And funny story, this is another thing that Donny mentioned in the segment of Amazing Red podcast. I want to say this was the same episode when Donny and Ryan were talking about the ending of the series and the ending of their run after it got announced. That Donny mentioned, because if you guys remember at the first issue of The Abyss, there's this long ass monologue about Eddie kind of going off on going off, and you know when you like you and me, we didn't really think much of it. We were just like, yes, We were just going the issue, not thinking of anything. Donny told us that actually when he was writing those issues and he was writing that like monologue or whatever, the man was going through a divorce at the time. And when you read those issues with that context, oh boy! And like Donny even mentioned that like his editor was asking Donny like, "Fam, are you okay?" And when you read back those issues, and when you read back that issue with that context, you'll be asking like, "Yo, Donny, are you okay, man?" Because my man be laying it on thick. Like, goddamn, you were like, "Yo, fam, are you okay?" Because goddamn, those pages be hidden different when you have that context. And like when I found that out, I like in the same time whenever the latest issue came out after that episode, Stigmas and Friends came out, I went back and read those pages like at the end of the video, and y'all can just see my face. I was like, bro, like, yo, you okay, Donny? Goddamn. Luckily, Donny's okay now. Yeah, man. So yeah, that was pretty crazy to find that out, and like that completely changed that like thing with Eddie, man. But yeah, but I think what all of us can agree on was definitely probably the weakest part of the art of Donny's run, and you could probably make the argument that this doesn't even really count as part of his run, is the War of the Realms tie-ins. Now, like I mentioned in my reactions to those issues, those issues weren't that bad. They were very good issues. But when you coming from the Abyss, that arc, to the War of the Realms tie-ins, the nosedive in quality can be felt harder than if it was probably just any other comic book and any other like arc they were going after. When you go through something like The Abyss, that was probably the peak of the series, and then you kind of go to that, man, you can feel the difference. And like I said, Donny wasn't even writing those issues, so you can make the argument if those even really should count in his run because he wasn't even writing them. And you could tell like the difference in quality was very noticeable. Like I said before, those issues were not bad. They were very good issues, but low-key, like, y'all can see my reaction to those issues. I was like, man, this shit is mid as fuck. Can we get back to Donny, please? Donny, come back and write this shit. And you guys remember, when the Absolute Carnage hype train started, so when they announced the event was coming and all that, when we got that that last issue before the Absolute Carnage began, you know your boy was hyped as fuck. I was reading that page, being like, yes, I was reading that shit. I was like, yes, thank you, Donny, you are back. I was so like, that was definitely my peak, and like I guess you can say hype levels of the run was definitely was from the start of the run from Abyss to Absolute Carnage, the start of Absolute Carnage. That was the peak of my, where I'm like, this comic book is a masterpiece, 10 out of 10, this is like the greatest comic book I've ever read, even though I didn't read that many at that time, but like, this is a masterpiece, this is a 10 out of 10, this is right, like, this proves that comics and manga are no different, this is right up there with Tokyo Ghoul and shit, and actually, funny story, guys, I was actually planning, when the Abyss stuff was happening, I was very tempted on doing like a video where I was comparing like Eddie Brock and like Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, because they're like very similar in a lot of ways with their personalities and all, and what they and their growth over the series, and just how how emotionally and mentally fragile they both are. So, which I never ended up doing the video. I might still end up doing that video one day, but that was something that was swirling in my mind when those Abyss issues came out. And then we of course got to Absolute Carnage itself, which you guys know. When I did that first issue, your boy was hyped. I haven't been that hyped up for something in a very long time, probably since, like, I don't know, The Force Awakens, when that came out, or whatever, but your boy was hyped as fuck with Absolute Carnage. That first issue, I remember in the lead up to that, I would always be, like, losing my shit, like, whenever Ryan posted, like, a sketch page from the first issue of Absolute Carnage, I was like, oh my god, like, yes, I was so excited, man, I was so into this shit, man. And we got to the event itself, and it was awesome. But I gotta admit, the event started strong and ended strong. But I think even I have to admit, in retrospect, the issues 3 and issue 4 is when, or or issue 2 and 3 rather, was when I noticed, and you guys can probably see this in my face and my reaction, even though I still very much enjoy those issues. You could, like, the book started to lose its steam a little bit with those second and third issues, but then it picked itself back up with issue 4 and issue 5. And like I said, it started strong and ended strong, but those two issues, issues 2 and 3, was definitely when the book started to lose its steam a little bit. At least to me, anyway. But I was still like enjoying the fuck out of it. And then, of course, you got the other runs. You got Venom Island, which was amazing. You got Venom Beyond, which was also fantastic in its own right. Of course, the tie-ins, Absolute Carnage, and all that shit. But and then we got to King in Black, which was like, you know, the one we finally got to the end game. And I could tell that Donny probably learned from his mistakes we did with Absolute Carnage, because, like I said before, with Absolute Carnage, it started strong and ended strong. But with issues 2 and 3, I thought that's when the series. But I thought that was when it started to lose its steam a little bit before it got back up. Like with King in Black, no. It never lost steam, man. It was always up and up and up and up and up. Each issue was absolute match insanity, and I was enthralled from start to finish. There wasn't like it started losing steam a little bit. No. This train was full steam ahead, and there was no way in hell you were gonna stop it, man. King in Black was fucking amazing, man. It was such an amazing event, along with the tie-ins that we got from Venom. But one other thing before I wrap this video up, and then of course I'll probably go over the last issue at least a little bit more, was without a doubt probably the best thing about this run, that the glue that kept it together was the relationship between between Daniel and Eddie. Like, the father-son dynamic was so good. Especially at the start of it, when Daniel thought he was like Eddie's brother, and once Eddie realized that is indeed his son, and he started to really raise him. Especially in that one issue, right before Absolute Carnage came in there, where Daniel is sick and Eddie's like trying to like scrap some shit together to like get like some medicine for him or whatever. Seeing Eddie being a dad was just so much fun to watch, man. And then you get to like the last issue where he's like well, my man looks like he's fucking 60, and you see him like trying to raise Daniel as a teniager. It's just so wholesome, man. It was just such a joy to read, man. And like, gotcha right in the feels, man, with Daniel and Eddie. But yeah, man. I guess now I should talk about the last issue. The last issue, like I said before, was amazing. I loved how, like I said, I love all the moments where we saw Daniel and Eddie kind of just being a father and son. Eddie trying to raise Daniel and all that. That was great. The stuff with Spidey was absolutely hilarious. That was funny. But also, for something I forgot to mention, I noticed this. I think I even mentioned this in my reaction. It looks like Short Hair Carol is back. Which, if you guys know me, if you guys have maybe watched my Captain Marvel reactions or some of the other videos I've done about Captain Marvel, you guys know I prefer Carol with the short hair. So seeing her with the short hair there brings a great smile to my face that, yes, Short Hair Carol is back. I don't know if this was just a mistake with one of the artists that drew these pages, or they actually are going with that. I don't keep up with the Avengers book. I might have to look at the latest issue now to see if Carol cuts her hair or not. But whatever. But I thought that got me really. So I was like, yes, Short Hair Carol is back. Rejoice. But yeah, man. But the last thing I want to talk about before we end this video off is what this means next time for Venom. Because as we know, they've already had the new team announced for the new book, and I believe the writer behind it is the same guy that did Immortal Hulk. Well, Donny is actually doing Hulk now, so it's like literally they just took the writers from Venom and Immortal Hulk and just switched them. But we find out at the end of the issue that not only is Flash Thompson back as Agent Venom, or I guess Agent Anti-Venom now, because he's rocking the white symbiote. He's rocking the Anti-Venom suit. That he's back. I believe he's getting his own solo comic as well. I might be wrong on that one. But we find out that Daniel is now going to be the new Venom. He is inheriting Venom from his father. He is the new Venom. Rocking chains and everything, because which was actually the whole chains thing was actually, Donny mentioned this on Twitter, was a nod to Todd McFarlane. You guys know who was the creator of Spawn, who like apparently he said like it's on Donny's banner where it says "Kids love chains" or something like that. So that was a pretty cool nod, because when I read that I was like, oh, was that he must be referencing Ghost Rider, because Ghost Rider was the only character I could think of that had chains. But yeah, Spawn also has chains as well. So yeah. So I'm definitely obviously excited to see what's next in store for Venom, what they have with Eddie now being the King of Black, or kind of being this more of an omnipotent being in the Marvel Universe, where he's everywhere and anywhere at the same time. And Daniel, of course, now being the new Venom, now swinging around via chains instead of webs. So I'm obviously very excited to see what's next. And you guys, I already mentioned this before, but I will be keeping up the issue reactions for the next run of Venom. I'll definitely be reading the new Hulk book by Donny, but I probably won't be reacting to it just because, you know. But I'll definitely be reading it just to check it out to see how Donny, because I feel like Donny and Hulk is definitely a good match. I was hoping it was Moon Knight, but alas, it was not. I was hoping Donny after was going to be doing Moon Book. Like a lot of people, I was like praying it was Moon Knight. Like, please do Moon Knight. Please do Moon Knight. But it wasn't. It's Hulk, but it should still be fantastic in its own right, because I think Donny would work really well with Hulk. But yeah, man, that's really all I gotta say. Like I said before, this isn't like edited or like highly edited or anything. Like I said, this is just me sitting in front of my camera and just talking about Venom's run, about Donny's run, and just how much I loved it and how. And it's also kind of crazy because this was had such a big part of the channel as well. Because like I said, this has been around for 4 years. So like I started reacting to these back in 2018. It's now 2021. That's 4 years. It's the same thing with when Dragon Ball Super finally ended up. That was such a big. That was the first series I picked up when I started doing the anime reviews, the anime episode reviews. So when it finally ended, I was like, damn, man, Super's finally ended. I mean, yes, we all know Super's gonna come back eventually, but the original series, I was like, goddamn, this was such a big part of the channel, and now it's gone. Same thing with this one, man. I'm sure when Nick Spencer's Spidey run ends, I'm probably gonna be even more depressed than I am now because it's Spidey, and Nick Spencer's run was also fantastic as well, right? Although I would say, so far, because I would always kind of just be constantly fluctuating depending on the arc or whatever it was. Which did I like more, Donny's run on Venom or Nick Spencer's Spider run? Then Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run came in and it was like, nah, motherfucker, it's now a 3-way. Which book is better? It was constantly fluctuating. There would be times where when we got to Hunted and Last Remains, where I'm like, oh no, Nick Spencer's Spidey run is the best, is my favorite comic from now. But then when we got to Abyss, it was like, nah, motherfucker, Donny is great. And then with Chip Zdarsky, it's like, bruh. But yeah, man, like I said before, it's crazy, man. It's bittersweet that the book's finally ended, man. It was such an amazing ride, and it was such a great journey, and I just loved every second of it. It was such an amazing series, and this is really the first time where it felt where I've had that bittersweet moment where a series I've loved so much and I've been with for so long ends. Because like I said before, I mentioned my reaction. Naruto was already ended for years before I even started watching the anime. Bleach was already over when I started watching the anime. And Samurai 8 ended too quickly for me to really get that attached to it. Where I'm like, damn, man, it's canceled because it got canceled. But with Venom, with Donny Cates' Venom run, I loved it. The issues were so good. It gave me so many great memories, so many, crazy reactions, most likely for when I did the reaction review for the channel, and just so much fun just reading it. And for 4 or 5 years, it's just it's over. But yeah, we got the new run coming out whenever that is. That should be great in its own right. Hopefully, I doubt it's probably gonna be as good as Donny's run, but it should still be great in its own right. Anyway, guys, I have rambled on long enough. Tell me down below what you guys thought of what you thought of Donny's run. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are some of your favorite moments from his run? What was your favorite arc? What was something that you thought that you loved about Donny's run? And just leave your thoughts on Donny's run in the comments below. What you thought of it, Ryan's art, all that shit, man. Were you also watching Stigman's Amazing Friends too? Did you also pick up that podcast as well, like I did once it started up? Leave it all down below in the comments. But yeah, man, it's bittersweet that Donny Cates' run has finally ended, but it was an amazing journey and definitely something that will always be close to the heart. And I look forward to whenever they release the omnibus of Donny's entire run all in one book. I'm definitely gonna pick that up, because this run was just that good, man. Now I just gotta wait till Nick Spencer's Spidey run ends, and then I'll probably be even more depressed. But yeah, man, that day will come. We'll cross that bridge when we get it. But anyway, guys, like I said before, leave your thoughts and shit in the comments below if you're on Donny's run. And anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.